I was just way too relaxed, to be quite honest, and he was making good adjustments, and I just was hard for me to pull the trigger, and it just took me a while till the third round to actually start getting things moving. So I don't know what that was, whether it was no crowd or whatever it was. It's like, wake up, get punched in the face so you can wake up a little bit.
Yellow. Alexander Volkanovski had said something very intriguing about his fight versus Max Holloway. He said that he was getting too relaxed, that he needed to wake up. Why was this? What was happening to him? Because to many fighters, being calm, relaxed, comfortable is cornerstone to their game.
Because relaxing is most important. When you go to the cage, you have to fight, relax.
But in this sense, it was as if during the first 2 rounds, before he snapped out of it to take that decision win, Max, he was touching Volkanovski up with almost this ease. What was going on here? What did Alexander Volkanovski have to wake up from? Let's shift our gaze here to get a feel for this concept, hear what Eddie Alvarez experienced facing Conor McGregor. What was unique about fighting him, something I maybe haven't felt before, was he has this calmness that kind of hypnotizes you into feeling calm and safe. So rather than going in there and moving like I normally do, I feel his calmness made me feel like, oh, I'm not in danger. He feels fine. I feel safe. He does this good job of hypnotizing you into this relaxed state and then striking quickly. This is something we can note about Yoel Romero as well, and it's actually a point Israel Adesanya brought up about Yoel. He was actually keen to it. Yoel Romero, he lulls you. He has this way of lulling you into a false sense of security.
What do you think is the most dangerous thing about Yoel? What do you think is the most dangerous thing about him?
I think that he'll lull you into a false sense of security where you feel like you can kind of coast and you're in control, and he'll just explode. So you have to stay on with him at all points. You can't just drift off. You can't just coast in your mind.
As explosive as he is, he moves very relaxed. With this slower cadence at first, it's a very calm disposition preluding that explosiveness. To some extent, we see this with Lyoto Machida as well. That slower cadence, with his intention being to lull you into space before he counters you with that left straight. But join me on this glance here. You can actually find Miyamoto Musashi mention this concept of lulling your opponent in his work as well. You can read more of this at archive.org if you'd like, but it goes as, in large-scale strategy, when the enemy is agitated and shows an inclination to rush, do not mind in the least. Make a show of complete calmness and the enemy will be taken by this and will become relaxed. When you see that the spirit has been passed on, you can bring about the enemy's defeat by attacking strongly with a void spirit. In single combat, you can win by relaxing your body and spirit, and then, catching on the moment, the enemy relaxes, attack strongly and quickly, forestalling him. You can also infect the enemy with a bored, careless, or weak spirit. You must study this well. Is that not exactly how Max Holloway looked? That's just it. That is likely what Volkanovski was trying to wake up from. Max Holloway looked supremely calm, supremely relaxed. He was playful, and it almost looked like he did not even care if he was there or not. It matches what Miyamoto Musashi had said exactly. It is fair to assume that Max's style was lulling him for the first 2 rounds before Volkanovski got it back, woke up. We saw something very similar with Max versus Brian Ortega. Max Holloway touching Brian Ortega virtually at will. It was that same relaxed calmness Miyamoto Musashi was referring to. When you pair that with his Lomachenko-inspired sense for angles, overall volume, and tighter form, everything coming together was why Brian Ortega had so much trouble gauging Max Holloway. Moving slowly, relaxed, calmly before snapping into a quick strike. It's the mental disposition when paired with that cadence of movement which works to lull the opponent into a false sense of security. One of the many tricks these fighters have developed. And to me, it's intriguing as to how one's mental disposition can influence something so serious as a fight in this way. Think about that for a moment. These individuals are as mentally strong as humans can get, but something like this can still come into play. Food for thought. And until next time, peace.